Piers Morgan has received a much-needed education on how to be tolerant of non-binary people. Star Trek actor Sonequa Martin Green schooled the Good Morning Britain host on how to treat gender-fluid people after months of Morgan lashing out at trans guests. Morgan sparked outrage when he called gender-fluid people absurd earlier this year. And in September, he lashed out at a gender-fluid 21-year-old who he invited on the show, accusing them of being confused. He asked Tabitha or Tate Downsking whether their trans mother had brought on this confusion. And Morgan flat out denied their identity to their face, telling them that you can't be male and female, you're born one or the other. Downsking lacked the experience to deal with this unexpected dismissal of her entire gender identity, but Martin Green was a different kind of guest. The actress, who plays Michael Burnham in the Netflix show, explained that her character was named after their dead father. It was a very simple but profound statement of the gender fluidity of the future, where a daughter can be named after her father, and perhaps a son after his mother, she added. Despite his recent record of lashing out against non-binary people on air, Morgan responded, "I'm a big supporter of transgender rights. I'm very confused and unsettled by gender fluidity. People who wake up one day and they're sonequa, and the next day they wake up and feel like they're Michael." The straight, white, cisgender, male presenter then asked The Walking Dead star, "Is this a good thing, or is it a rather confusing thing? Oh, goodness. I don't think anyone can speak on it in those sort of personal terms, because it is such an individual, sensitive, highly personal thing, and everyone has a right to their individual, highly personal things," she said. "That's part of being a human being, at least, that's the way it should be. So in this case, when I'm speaking about gender fluidity, I'm talking about the gender roles being in a more equal place, being on a more equal playing field, if you will," the actress added. "And so we're not paying so much attention to the barriers that separate." Cutting in brusquely, Morgan asked, "Do you have kids?" "I do. I have a son," she replied, smiling. "Would you like it if your son came back one day and said he was gender fluid and wanted some days to be female, other days to be male?" Morgan asked. "I think it's something we have to deal with now," she began, only to be interrupted again. "Would you like it?" he spat, going against the flow of the conversation almost as much as the tide of history. And she had an excellent answer. "Well, I couldn't say that I didn't like it, because if that's what he truly believed, I'd have to support that, because I love him unconditionally," said Martin Green. "So I'd have to receive that and I'd have to accept that, and then I'd have to decide how we move forward together." Morgan has a troubling recent history of attacking non-binary people and gender-neutral concepts. Earlier this year, he slammed Corey Doty, a non-binary parent who has been battling to exclude new baby Cyril's biological sex from their birth certificate, in the Mail on Sunday. "My number one pet hate at the moment is the absurd gender-fluid movement, driven by people who don't wish to be defined as either male or female," Morgan wrote. When Doty was on GMB, Morgan asked them if they were born male or female and repeatedly badgered them about their genitals. He lashed out against Emma Watson after she picked up the gender-neutral Best Actor prize at the MTV TV and Movie Awards in May. He also said he might wear a dress at the news that a London school was instituting gender-neutral uniforms. And the chat show host continued his rampage by telling a trans non-binary couple that non-binary children were a contagion and that 2 or 3 trans kids died from suicide last year. A 2014 study found that 48% of trans people under 26 in Britain had attempted suicide. He also said that identifying as non-binary is a massive new fad. Stonewall called him bigoted and transphobic after he made these comments, but this did not stop him. Despite having taken part in the charity's Rainbow Laces campaign in the past, he responded by childishly calling Stonewall bigoted, Piers-phobic. Watch Piers get a lesson here.